is Joy News Prime.
This is Prime, Ghana's most comprehensive 2 hours of television news, seen in several cities around the globe, including Birmingham in the United Kingdom. My name is Israel Laye. Coming up, Ghana's main cocoa processor asked about 80 workers to proceed on indefinite leave as it announces shutdown of 2 of its production lines for routine maintenance. The workers, however, say the company is grappling with a financial crisis brought on by mismanagement. Price of sachet water to go up by 50% to 30 pesos from February 1 as producers pass on rising costs, especially recent petroleum price increase. Energy Commission giving 2 weeks to investigate recent nationwide power outages.
I'll be back with some business stories on the shutdown of the cocoa processing company.
And also in the bulletin, suspect arrested in Ghana in connection with murder of British actress Sian Blake personally opts for extradition to the United Kingdom to face prosecution. Now, apart from the business news, which comes up in about 30 minutes, we'll also have entertainment, sport, and Joy News Interactive. This bulletin is also available on ABN Television on the Sky platform across Europe, as well as on Freeview Connect. Stay tuned. Parliament is yet to be officially informed of plans to institutionalize the conduct of the country's presidential and parliamentary elections in November instead of the December date used in the Fourth Republic. The Electoral Commission in its program of activities to Parliament proposed November 7, but legislative processes are yet to be finalized.
Joy News checks revealed that the legislative instrument, when laid by the Attorney General on behalf of government, requires a lot of processes to be followed before maturing into law. Vice Chairman of the Legal and Constitutional Committee of Parliament, George Lowe, explains the process must be followed before the date can be accepted.
The instrument must be laid before Parliament, and Parliament will do all the necessary, go through the necessary motions that it must go through. And once Parliament does its work, it refers to the executive and it's signed into a law. So it's not a very laborious process. There may be timelines that need to be met, but basically that is it. Sometimes they can even come under certificate of agency, depending on what. As you yourself have said, looking at the timetable before us, we have quite a difficult period ahead of us. But I'm confident that all committees are up to their task, and that we'll all work very hard to ensure that we achieve.
But I do know that the Constitution may have to be amended to accommodate the new date.
Yeah, particularly for that of the parliamentary candidates. For the presidential candidate, you have a plethora of time within which you can hold the election.
Meanwhile, the furore over government's decision to accept the 2 Guantanamo detainees in Ghana is still raging. The Member of Parliament for Eswejaman, Kofi Wampa, says he will file an urgent question to compel the Foreign Affairs Minister to clarify certain aspects of the deal.
If the question will be asked on the floor, I'm quite happy to draft a question for the Foreign Minister or the President himself to come before the House and explain, because his explanation doesn't really tell us that the request that was made by President Obama had that dictatorial attachment to it, that is arrogating to himself that I'm the executive president, so I can do whatever I want. That smacks of some rudeness to the good people of Ghana. The commander-in-chief has made a request, and you're a commander-in-chief. He didn't use executive powers. He used constitutional powers, right? But our president says, well, Mr. President, you've asked me and I'm acquiescing to it. Why? He didn't give it a thought. He didn't consider it in details. He didn't think that even if you ask your people, even though you don't have you don't have to ask them, if you ask them, what would happen?
The Energy Commission has been given 2 weeks to investigate recent power outages that have left most of the country without electricity. The phenomenon, described as systems collapse, knocks out supply to as much as 2/3 of those who rely on the grid. There have been at least 2 of such incidents in the last 7 days. Deputy Power Minister John Jinapor told journalists on Tuesday investigations are currently underway with the assistance of the helicopter from the Air Force to ascertain the exact cause of the outages.
As was indicated, there was a major fault on the 330 kV line, especially within the west. And so Gridco is investigating that. Gridco indicated that they needed a helicopter to do some surveillance of the entire stretch of the line. Fortunately, the Ghana Air Force has agreed to release the helicopter for us. However, due to the veracity of the weather, the harmattan is so severe that visibility is very, very poor. And so we are unable to lift off with the helicopter. And so when the weather gets a bit better and visibility improves, the helicopter would conduct a surveillance of the entire stretch of the line. After doing that, they will do an assessment. But in addition to that, we have tasked the Energy Commission, which is our technical advisor, to do a full systems audit of the entire network. And they are in the process of doing that. They have 2 weeks within which to complete that. They will submit a report, and we shall carry on with that.
Meanwhile, a sting operation in the Accra North Industrial Area to expose factories stealing from the Electricity Company of Ghana proved fruitless on Tuesday after all 3 companies visited turned out to be clean. The operation, which was led by the Deputy Power Minister himself, followed a tip-off that some companies were tampering with their meters and underpaying the ECG. Jennifer Kwama was with the Ministerial Task Force.
The Deputy Minister, John Jinapor, headed the team comprising several executives from the ECG, including the CEO, Robert Dramina, and the Public Relations Officer, William Boateng. They visited 3 factories, Latex Foam, Danex, and Fan Milk Company Limited, to check if they had tampered with their meters. But the representatives were not pleased at the intrusion.
Why are you making this scenery like that? Like we are criminals. If you're a criminal, I'll let them arrest you. Correct. I'm ready to go with you. No problem. I'm ready to go with you, but at least go and investigate. So listen to.
There was a similar confrontation at ice cream maker Fan Milk, where one of the managers questioned what the company had done wrong. None of the 3 companies, including Danex, were found to have engaged in any wrongdoing. The Deputy Minister then explained to journalists the rationale for the exercise, warning there will be more of such operations.
From today, the audit team will continue to work. They will continue to visit all customers. And let me put this on record, all customers. We are commencing with what we call SLT customers. These are heavy consumers. Beyond this, we'll be targeting hotels, we'll be targeting nightclubs, we'll be targeting ministries, departments, and agencies. All government institutions that are supposed to pay for the power they consume, we want to assure you and send a signal that we shall collect those monies. Because the Minister of Finance indicated that all these institutions ought to be budgeting for the power they consume.
Ultimately, the Deputy Minister is hoping all electricity consumers would pay their bills so that ECG can stay in good shape to give them quality service.
Organized labor and government are expected to conclude their weeks of negotiations on the recent utility tariff hikes and the energy tax on Wednesday. This was the outcome of a meeting at the Flagstaff House on Tuesday to resolve a current standoff between the two. It follows considerable shifting of positions by both parties on the matter, which resulted in a nationwide demonstration by workers last week.
The unions in the last few weeks have been demanding that government reduces utility tariffs and completely scrap the energy sector levy. Thousands of Ghanaian workers, mostly members of organized labor, hit the streets last Wednesday to protest the tariff hikes and the new tax, which has caused a 28% increase in prices of petroleum products. General Secretary of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, Solomon Kote, who was part of Tuesday's meeting at the Flagstaff House, says, based on positive discussions held so far, a final decision is likely to be reached on Wednesday.
Well, government have agreed that it is bringing a paper to Labour this evening for further study, so that tomorrow, when we convey, we should be able to conclude on the issues.
Bringing a paper to Labour this evening, is it not a short period for you to look at, study it, and then agree to it?
The whole nation is high expectation to see the outcome of these particular negotiations. And therefore, if it means we have to work late in the night, we do. By our job, sometimes we stay late and work. So we will consider the offer that is coming, okay, and Labour will also look at where it is coming from, and then if there is the need for us to do further consultations with our broader membership, we will do that before we come back tomorrow. Obviously, the posture of Labour is looking for a win-win situation. Once you go into negotiate, the conditions are that you may not get all that you want, but if you get what is sufficient for you, you become satisfied with it.
Okay. So what do you say to some of your members who at some point felt as if softened your stance with regards to negotiations with government?
Well, it was just a good opportunity for us to explain the rudiments of negotiations. I mean, you don't go to table to say, I want 10. So if I don't get 10, I'm not going to move. Then better still, get the stalemate and then go and look for a third party. But once you've gone in and say, let us negotiate, it means you must give it out there for them also to give it out there. And then you get the middle line and then you get going. It wasn't that Labour has softened its stance at all.
Employment and Labour Relations Minister Haruna Idrisu assured the unions that, based on the recommendations by the committee, special provisions will be made for industries.
The committee will have noted that government accepts the principle to cushion industry in line with our transformation agenda of President Mahama, and therefore the AGI is to submit a comprehensive proposal to the Minister of Finance and to the President, making a prioritization of 2 areas for immediate support as part of the cushion to industry arising out of this adjustment. The committee have also noted today an improvement in the position of organized labor by tabling some adjustments to their previous position at the level of the stakeholder. That is heartwarming in the spirit of these negotiations. And on behalf of government, we are also revising our position. Communicate same to organized labor before the end of today, which will be an improvement of our position, particularly in respect of lifeline consumers and vulnerable consumers of ECG.
Meanwhile, government has ordered the electricity company to refund excess bill to customers in 11 days.
Saying that some of the charges are not attributable to the PURC announced adjustment nor the levy, but arising out of some billing challenges of the ECG. And the committee have accordingly directed the ECG, as it has already taken steps to bring this process to an end within the next 14 days, so that persons who were overcharged or who got bills that were undeserving arising out of the software computation problems are largely addressed by the ECG.
The Electricity Company of Ghana has said it is identifying those affected by the overbilling for refund. Matilda Pomaga for Joy News, Accra.
Now, the price of sachet water will be going up to 30 pesos from February 1. That's 10 pesos more what you currently pay. The sachet water producers announced at a news conference on Tuesday this has become necessary following the imposition of the energy tax levy, which has resulted in an increase in fuel prices. They add the price could go up further once they factor in the increase in cost of utility tariffs. Sena Minto covered the news conference for Joy News.
The president of the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers told journalists the increase in the fuel prices as a result of the energy tax is just one of the factors contributing to the impending 50% increase in the price of their products. Magnus Nunu cites several other factors, including the cost of the plastic packaging they use.
70% of our cost is packaging material, the rubbers that we use, both the sachet rubber and then the packaging material itself. Transport takes 18%. Labor is between 7 and 10%. The difference caters for electricity, water, and infiltration, which is about 5% or less.
He adds that the association is yet to factor in the utility tariffs, which went up last month, as they are still hoping the public utilities Regulatory Commission may back down and reduce them. For now, he says their business are taking a hit, just like other business which rely heavily on the utilities. Mr. Nunu is particularly concerned sachet water producers are being billed at much higher tariffs than even the breweries and liquor producers, who are known to be much better off.
If you take the commercial rate, it used to be 3.8 Ghana cedis per cubic meter. The new rate is now 8.36 Ghana cedis per cubic meter, representing 120%. The industrial rate has also moved from 3.8 Ghana cedis per cubic meter to 10.07 Ghana cedis per cubic meter, representing 165%. Sachet water used to be part of the other way, but now they recategorized it on standing on its own. It used to be 3.8 Ghana cedis per cubic meter, and it is now 11.21 Ghana cedis per cubic meter, representing 195%. The special commercial, into brackets, bottled water, that one moved from 10.07 to 50.76. In terms of pricing and profitability of the two companies, water comes nowhere near the price of beer.
He described the tariff regime as discriminatory against the water producers and one that promotes alcohol consumption.
The rates, as indicated for business entities, first and foremost, is discriminatory. The rates highly promotes the consumption of alcoholic beverages. And
the 50% increase in prices will meanwhile affect bottled water. Mr. Nunu says the bottled water companies will review their prices by themselves.
When we come back, we have more stories, please, don't go away. The Ghana Cocoa Processing Company has shut down 2 of its 3 factories indefinitely, with more than 80 of its workers asked to go on indefinite leave. There have been conflicting reasons for the closure, with workers alleging the company is cash-strapped. The workers fear it could lead to a permanent shutdown of the factories, considering the numerous challenges facing the company.
Now they are handicapped because you can say whatever you want to say, unless, of course, a savior comes from somewhere to inject. We need capital to inject to this company so that, as for beans, it is there. You know, if you don't have money, I mean, cash in the hand, back the ground. Those who have money, they are working. If you like go to the free zone board, you see a lot of cocoa processing company working. But here we are. So that is our problem. So for me, if things are not moving well, how can you even get welfare issues for your workers?
Indeed, the arrangement, the understanding between the ICU and management is that should the maintenance exercise even exceed your leave days, then it means that it must also be catered for appropriately. So they are just using the maintenance period, okay, to ask workers only in that section. Not all the workers are going. The factory is not completely shut down as the message went out. No, not at all. So the group of workers which are asked to stay home for the maintenance period is just to allow the maintenance to be carried out, and it is like the leave days, and it will be paid for. They will be coming back after the end of the maintenance exercise.
And when is the end of the maintenance exercise?
You cannot tell exactly, but this is not the first time it has happened in a cocoa processing company. It is not an annual ritual though, but it is not abnormal in the scheme of things in the factory here. No, not at all. It could be a week. It could be 2 weeks.
Did you ask management how long this maintenance period would take?
Like I told you, we have been in relationship for a very long time, and we are very much aware that if it is a temporary shutdown for maintenance exercises, it doesn't go beyond certain time. You don't specify the time because the maintenance can take 2 or 3 weeks. But it is not an exercise in futility. It is not an exercise that goes forever. No, not at all.
Now, management of CPC says a shutdown is for routine maintenance. Eko Rule, who speaks for the company, has been explaining the issue.
In the sense that every year we shut down for some work to be done. Now, so we were expecting to shut down last December for this maintenance to go on. Unfortunately, we were not able to do that because we were involved in some contracts which had to be completed before the end of the year. But this extended up to sometime, I think, the first week of this year. The cost of executing that
it's not of workers. What is happening is this: every year we have what we call shutdown maintenance, where we shut the factories down for rehabilitation and for repairs and so on and so forth. Now, last year normally it takes place, such maintenance takes place around Christmas period. So when the workers are home, then we undertake the maintenance. So normally we ask them to take extended break, beyond the Christmas. Now, last December we were not able to do it because we were in the midst of some contract that we had to execute even before the end of the year. This contract finally came to an end around first week in January. So we felt that this is the time to do the maintenance. So we've decided to shut down the factory whilst the workers go on leave. Not that they should go home, but they are we have asked them to take their annual leave. Now,
the British fugitive who was arrested in Ghana and wanted for the murder of his partner and their 2 children has personally requested to be extradited to the UK. Arthur Simpson Kent shocked prosecutors in the Ghana court when he said he wanted to go home and stand trial.
Speaking for the first time in court, the suspect said the court does not need to go through the extradition proceedings initiated by the Ghanaian authorities. Simpson Kent is wanted for the murder of EastEnders star Sean Blake and her 2 children, Zachary 8 and Amon 4. State prosecutors had informed the court that they received a nearly 200-page deposition with CCTV footage detailing how the suspect was implicated in the murder. Lawyer for the Brit, Justice Sremsai, was upset with prosecutors accusing them of springing up evidence on them in court. He requested a 30-minute adjournment to confer with the suspect, which was granted by the court. When the proceedings resumed, the lawyer announced that his client had decided to voluntarily request extradition. The suspect later told the court he was not coerced into taking that decision. The request was granted. Simpson Kent will now be extradited to the UK to answer charges of murder.
Our job as lawyers is to advise our clients in respect of their rights and under law. We have done that. The final decision as to what the client wants to do, particularly in this case, whether to be here or to go back, is not with the lawyers to make. And therefore, he has exercised his right to determine where he wants to be. In the first place, he wasn't running away. He was supposed to be in the UK by now.
Counsel, his decision, is it an admission on his part that he is guilty of the accusations leveled against him? The decision in court today to accept or to submit himself for voluntary extradition.
He has not been charged, so I don't know how that could be a decision of admission of guilt.
On Thursday, January 7, 2016, the Criminal Investigation Department CID headquarters of the Ghana Police Service received a request from the National Crime Agency NCA through Interpol Manchester and British High Commission Accra for assistance to arrest Arthur Simpson Kent.
The Upper West Region Police has denied that a 40-year-old man in their custody is linked to the recent terror attack at the Splendid Hotel in Burkina Faso, in which some 28 people were killed. The police arrested Zuri Barima last Saturday in the Sicily West District capital, Bolu. Initial findings suggest he was a member of the disbanded Presidential Guard loyal to ousted leader Blaise Compaoré and is wanted for his alleged involvement in some crimes other than terrorism. Rafik Salam's report from Wa.
According to the Upper West Regional Crime Officer of the Ghana Police Service, Superintendent Hussein Musa Awinaba, suspect Zuri Barima was arrested at Bolu last Saturday by the police. He was seen loitering in the community, thus raising residents' suspicion about his motive. They alerted the Bolu police, who apprehended him. Initial investigation by the police revealed that he is a member of the disbanded Presidential Bodyguard of Burkina Faso, loyal to former President Blaise Compaoré. In the middle of the interrogation, security forces from Burkina Faso came to the scene and confirmed that he was actually a member of the disbanded presidential unit in their country, but was on their wanted list for some alleged crimes in his home country.
Confirmation has come from the Burkina Faso side that he's wanted in the terror case that happened a few weeks ago. So we are of the view that they would know the facts since he has not committed any offense in Ghana. And so we are doing the arrangement to transfer him to Burkina Faso for further investigation. In our interaction with the Burkina Faso police, they did not indicate to us that he was one of the terror suspects. And number two, we are collaborating very well with the Burkina side of the military and the police, and we are sharing information and assisting each other. So for now, we don't have any fear that some of the terror suspects are within our territory.
Meanwhile, further checks by Joy News revealed that a suspect was indeed among the disbanded Presidential Guard, but later went into armed robbery. They allegedly robbed several people at a Burkinabe town, and 2 of his colleagues were arrested whilst he absconded to Ghana. Rafik Salam's report from Wa.
We're taking a break at this point on Joy News Prime. When we come back, we'll bring you business news. All right, it's time now for business, and Joy Business has been finding out. You've heard about the shutdown of the cocoa process, or 2 of the factories of the cocoa processing factory company. Typically, this would have implications for the company on the company's stocks, because it's a listed company
on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
You guys have been finding out a bit more on that,
right, Israel?
Okay.
Thank you, Israel. And the Chief Executive Officer of Car Brokerage, David Tete, tells Joy Business the shutdown of the cocoa processing company, which is listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, will affect shareholders of the company eventually. Speaking on the marketplace a while ago, David Tete said for now the company will have to write to officially inform the market about the development.
He is a listed company, as you said, and so all the activities that happen to the company has an effect on the share price on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Given the rumors that are around CPC at this time, we would expect that those who are interested in buying and those who are interested in selling would react to the information that is available in the public. Yeah. Given that this story has just broke today, we are looking for the reaction that will take place on the market. We would expect that the management of CPC should be making an announcement on the market with regards to the issues at stake right now. No official announcement has been made on the Ghana Stock Exchange as we speak about the challenges that the company is going through at the moment. But we would expect that any such activity, which is of price-sensitive information, should be made, available to the market via a press release. Well, the stock exchange itself has the power to suspend trading in securities. If there's a certain rumor around a stock, they can suspend trading and then go and find out if this rumor is true. So that remedy is available to the management of the Ghana Stock Exchange in the event that the company does not issue a public announcement by itself.
Exactly.
Given that this may have seeped into the public domain already, investors themselves can also react to the news if they do believe what they are hearing from the company.
Away from cocoa and its troubles, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Henry Kofi Wampa, has described calls for the devaluation of the Ghana cedi as needless. Some financial analysts have argued that the devaluation of the cedi may protect the local industry. Addressing journalists after a meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee yesterday, Dr. Henry Kofi Wampa said the calls are unjustified as the currency adjusts itself as and when conditions change.
Rates generally have been floating because the rate changes reflecting the market conditions, even be it speculative or not, the rate continues to change. So for us, there is really no need to do a discrete devaluation or take a discretionary action on devaluation because the currency adjusts as and when the conditions change. So in our situation, I don't think we are faced with a decision of either devaluing or not devaluing. That thing is done, the movement is done according to market conditions, which include liquidity, cedi liquidity in the market, monetary policy, fiscal policy, and so on. All those things determine what is happening in our market.
Meanwhile, Dr. Wampa has emphasized that the Monetary Policy Committee is an independent body which will not be subject to the dictates of any other authority. He was discounting claims that the MPC policy rate could be influenced by the IMF.
Further, we stay put doesn't mean that we are not maintaining this. See, when they say aggressive, you have to also review at the point they were writing the report, they were looking at the current conditions. We are looking at current conditions, and we think that the conditions don't demand an increase at this time. So we are going by their suggestions as well. But the committee is independent, and I wish I could let some of you have a view of the type of arguments, discussions that go on, the disagreements, and so on. So it's not a straightforward thing. It's quite a difficult thing. And me as the chairman, sometimes I've had difficult situations. We had to argue for long periods before we could get a consensus. So it's not a straightforward thing.
Away from the Bank of Ghana, internet service users now stand to benefit more from competing among industry players as another company, Busy, has launched its new 4G service, formerly Busy Internet. The company has now rebranded as Busy and launched its new 4G service today.
Until now, Busy was an internet service provider. Speaking to Joy Business at the launch today, the managing director, Praveen Sadalage, emphasized their new 4G service of enhanced speed at a more affordable cost was informed by consumer research.
Busy, as you have known, has been continuously evolving over the last 15 years, and it has been continuously adapting to customers' needs. So what we started off as a mixed technology incubation center, now we have moved on to an ISP. From an ISP, we rolled out WiMAX, and now as the customer's expectation and need for speed is there, we have launched a 4G service. So there is this concept of continuous evolution where we are trying to reach out, gauge customers' expectation, and bring out new products and services accordingly. Okay.
The Communications Minister, Dr. Edward Omanibuama, lauded Busy for the initiative, highlighting that it falls in line with government's drive towards a digital economy.
Yes, that is one of the ways that we are introducing new and innovative and white-collar jobs into the country. The one that is being constructed near the Kwame Nkrumah interchange is estimated to create 10,000 direct and indirect jobs for the youth. It's a collaboration between the government of Ghana and the Rockefeller Foundation. It's progressing very well, and it's estimated that by the end of March we would have completed it. We will complete the population
of the center by September this year.
Busy's rebranding and launch of the 4G service comes after a change in ownership about 2 years ago. The company is now a part of a larger sub-Saharan group, Afrimax, which focuses on deploying 4G across the region.
All right, time to talk stock and commodity markets. But today, the big story is cocoa. And John has just joined me here. Now, John, the cocoa factory shutdown issue, the cocoa processing
CPC,
company,
exactly,
it's a big issue. Exactly. I mean, elsewhere around the world, how should this have been handled?
Well, the issue is that the CPC as a company listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange actually is not CPC as it is. They also have some responsibility, some people called shareholders. So what they should have done from the beginning, even let's say months ahead, knowing very well they're going to actually embark on this shutdown, should have written officially to the exchange. Okay. And through the exchange, almost all their shareholders will be notified of this. And even that, we have some group we call speculators who will be cashing in on this. Okay. Would be waiting for their share prices to actually go low, so they buy at low prices and then they sell high in the event they come back. But the situation where you have a company who is listed on the bourse, don't inform
and it's yet to write to the Ghana Stock Exchange to tell.
Written. Now we don't even know whether they're going to write or not. Okay, maybe after this they would write.
But it's bad. That shouldn't have been.
Even investors are not even aware when this this whole program would actually end. We don't even know. Okay, because investors, as a matter of fact, depend on the profitability of a company and also what we call capital gains. That is the difference between how much they bought their shares and the difference as at the time they are selling. That's what really makes a profit on the market, basically. So this is quite significant. And I think, as a matter of fact, maybe the exchange knows better and they know how they're going to actually handle this. I believe the right thing is being done, but otherwise, in other jurisdictions, as you started with, this is
shouldn't have been.
And their share price, they should be losing a lot of shares, a lot of value by now, but it's not really happening. Per my numbers
bad times. All right, now let's see how the market is looking.
The market, as usual, today did not really trade that much. It's quite, we call it bearish because there isn't much activity. Liquidity so low, not much trading happened. We only saw three equities trading, but out of that, 2 lost.
And one.
The major loser happens to be Cal Bank. It's been quite consistent over the period. I think for the past 2 weeks they've been losing, even though they're coming a bit. But Societe Generale Ghana also did add 1 peswa to their investors' capital. So that's basically for it. But of course, the liquidity was also very low. But the value of the turnover happens to be very high. It's almost over 1 million. In a way, you would say month on month, you say it's okay. But if you compare to the capital of the exchange, it's like, let's say, a drop in an ocean. That's basically how
Let's go to the commodity market. I already know about cocoa.
Fortunately, you see all green, meaning crude gain, gold gain, cocoa gain.
Good news for gold. It's been losing for some time.
Exactly, but I think it's also been doing quite well for the past 10 days now. But the irony is that cocoa, should Ghana celebrate or not? That's the question, because
not yet.
we are net importers. No, we are net importers of oil. So as the price at the international market goes up, should we be happy or not? That's a question that I think I'll leave to the viewers to actually. Gold gained 3, and of course on the currency market, it's just a shift at a point in time, because if you remember yesterday the cedi only gained to the euro, but today it's only gaining to the British pound.
It lost to the
US dollar
and Chinese yuan
and the Chinese yuan. Okay, so that's basically the market, but the CPC thing, as you said, is big.
It's big.
I think
I'm sorry for shareholders.
I'm looking forward to seeing the impact of this on the bourse, on the market, going for maybe from now to Friday. But that wouldn't happen because, you know what, we do have almost about 3 months lag in what we call transmission process. Whilst in other jurisdictions, it takes 3 seconds. Something happens now, and in less than 3 seconds, it has some impact on the market. But here, the lag or the transmission time is 3 months. So let's see within this.
Let's see what happens. Thank you, John, for that analysis. And that's how we wrap up. My name is Eton Amse. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, access to your personal information by marketing institutions and telcos who often send unsolicited information should become more difficult as the Data Protection Commission steps up its enforcement role. One of the Commission's main objectives is to ensure all companies which collect data comply with their guidelines to protect such information securely. The Commission Tuesday morning briefed the media on its job description and how it would help protect all data collected. Hanodame sat through for Joy News.
The Data Protection Act 2012, Act 843, set out the rules and principles governing the collection, use, disclosure, and care for your personal data or information by a data collector or processor. It recognizes a person's right to protect their personal data or information by mandating a data collector or processor to process such personal information in accordance with the individual's rights. The Act also established the Data Protection Commission as an independent statutory body to ensure and enforce compliance. Established in 2012, the Commission also has the mandate to sanction any company which fails to comply with its guidelines. But 3 years after its existence, Executive Director Teki Akwete Falconer explains to me why they have not been able to effectively fulfill any of these responsibilities.
But you have been around for 3 years. How come we still have these messages that we don't need when your commission exists?
We've heard a lot about these complaints. However, the difficulty we've had is that we never get the physical complaint.
You mean you haven't received any complaint?
We've only received one.
In 3 years of existence?
Yes, one complaint.
Okay, so then what have you been doing these 3 years?
The 3 years, it's taken us a long time to get to where we are now.
She says the Commission will from June begin to crack the whip on any organization which fails to register for certification from her office or give out personal information without consent.
As data controllers, let us handle information more responsibly. Don't collect personal information unless you really need it.
Do you have punitive measures for the companies that eventually do not comply to your measures?
There are punitive. It stems from fines from about, I think, 2,000 Ghana cedis to about 25,000 Ghana cedis. There are also imprisonment terms.
When are we going to see you actually bite?
Hold us up to June.
Your personal information or data is important, and you have a key role to play in protecting it. For Joy News, my name is Hannah Odami.
The Member of Parliament for Asante Achim North Kwejo Ban Ajimang has led the demonstration at Agogo in the Ashanti region to evict Fulani herdsmen from the area. The demonstration was dubbed Operation Kill Any Cattle Seen on Farmland. The youth in the area say the action is the last resort as traditional leaders of the area have failed to solve the age-long rift with the pastoral nomads.
The nomads have been accused of perpetrating crimes including murder and rape besides the destruction of farm crops by their grazing cattle. Residents of Agogo and surrounding communities have for years raised concerns about the activities of Fulanis and their cattle in the area. Despite a court order in 2012 for the eviction of the Fulanis, they are still around with no immediate sign of an end in sight. There were times when women in Agogo and some other farming communities in the area hired male escorts in order for them to go to their farms, markets, and other places. An Operation Cowleg introduced by security forces in a renewed effort to curb the menace last January has also not yielded results. But in a press statement, the youth of the area have vowed to prevent chiefs from celebrating any festival until the Fulanis are evicted. They accuse some chiefs of exploiting the issue to their advantage.
They have intimidated us for far too long. They have killed about 25 people in Agogo. The recent one is the murder of Okomfo Kwejo. The authorities and the police have turned a blind eye to all that has been happening. If a Fulani man commits a crime, he's left off the hook But once an indigene of Agogo commits a crime, he is imprisoned.
They have also urged all citizens of Agogo to disregard any announcement from the Agogo Traditional Council. The youth have warned citizens of Agogo not to render any kind of services such as selling of food items and transport services to the Fulanis. They warn that anyone who does so shall be considered an enemy of Agogo and shall be treated as such. They added that they will continue with a peaceful public campaign until the last Fulani and their cattle leave their land.
You're watching Joy News Prime. Still to come in the bulletin, 4 aspirants seeking to become candidates of the Convention People's Party or presidential candidates of the Convention People's Party engage in a debate.
Country into sustainable, long-lasting economic progress. Has the time come for Ghana to wean itself from subservience to the IMF?
Certainly. Although I wouldn't use the word subservience, because they didn't force us to come for the loan. Due to our own mistakes and our own errors and our own poor management of our own resources in our economy, we found ourselves in no situation, and a situation whereby we had no choice but to go cap in hand as beggars to go and borrow from them to take us out of a situation that we ourselves had caused. So, once you want to take yourself out of a situation that you yourself have created, you have to plan. You have to plan and have a detailed and effective plan as to how, as I mentioned earlier, you are going to take yourself out of an old economy and move yourself into a new economy.
All right, we have international news coming up next.
You have your...
You're watching Joy News Prime Time now for a recap of our top stories. And Ghana's main cocoa processor has asked about 80 workers to proceed on indefinite leave as it announces a shutdown of 2 of its production lines for routine maintenance. The workers, however, say the company is grappling with the financial crisis brought on by mismanagement. The price of sachet water is to go up by 50% to 30 pesos from February 1 as producers pass on rising costs, especially the recent petroleum price increase. The Energy Commission has been given 2 weeks to investigate the recent nationwide power outages. And suspect arrested in Ghana in connection with murder of British actress Jan Blake personally opts for extradition to the United Kingdom to face prosecution. Now, the Convention People's Party is set to hold its National Delegates Congress on Saturday, with the election of a flag bearer to lead the party into the general elections in November top of the agenda. Ahead of the event, there appears to be tension within the party over the candidature of former party chair Samia Nkrumah. Ashanti Regional Deputy Communications Director Kofi Wampa suggests the party's fortunes could dip if the daughter of Ghana's first president emerges winner. He accuses her of failing to unite the party when she was chair and questions her capacity to lead the CPP into the 2016 election. Right now, though, let's go live to the TV Africa studios in Accra for the CPP presidential debate.
To generate taxes, to look after the older generation in this country. I keep saying and I repeat that the state must be strong to take charge of the private sector. Now, if we don't localize control over our resources, we will live to regret. Thank you very much, debaters. At this point, we'll have a 15-minute break. And for you to consult your notes, when we come back, we'll be debating on industry, agriculture, health, education.
All right, so once they've taken a break, we're also taking a break from them and returning to our stories here. Now, 7 suspected cases of meningitis have been recorded in the Volta region. The cases were recorded in South Tong, Ketu North, in Kwanza South, Krachi West, and Keta municipality. According to a statement issued by the Volta Regional Health Directorate, no death has been recorded among the suspected cases. Samples have been sent to the Public Health Reference Lab in Accra for investigation. The Abudu family has refuted media reports suggesting they would resort to violence to have their grievances addressed. Speaking to Joy News in Yendi, the secretary of the Abudu Royal Gate said there are many avenues beyond violence to resolve a dispute, hence they do not intend to employ violence. The royal family spoke to correspondent Martina Bogre.
The press conference was Abudu Royal family. They came out with that, issued that statement. But it wasn't a threat. It wasn't a threat. It was based on the outcome of what happened at the Manshia. When it was resolved that both Aburu and Andane funerals are going to be performed in the old Bewa Palace, which will be renovated for both gates to perform the two funerals. Even time was given up to the end of 29th February. And up to the time the press conference was issued, there was no renovation, there was no any action shows that there's construction or renovation preparedness towards the performance of the two funerals. So that was the reason, that was why the press conference was conducted. He wants to make it a point very clear that nobody threatened anybody. We said if the right thing is not done, we will advise ourselves. But that doesn't mean that we have issued a threat. We can make a copy of the press conference to you. Very clear. There was no any threat issue on it.
The Ashanti Regional Police Command has inaugurated a special elections task force to oversee the 2016 general election. The Regional Police Commander, DCOP Nathan Kofi Wampa, said the task force is expected to plan, coordinate, monitor and implement actions that will ensure free, fair and peaceful elections. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin reports.
On November 7, Ghana will be going to the polls to elect political leaders. Though the elections would not be the first in the history of the country, previous elections presented a lot of lessons to the police. In light of this, the IGP inaugurated an election security task force which will work at the national, regional and district levels. Addressing the media at the Ashanti region inauguration, the Regional Police Commander, DCOP Nathan Kofi Wampa, hinted that the Police Command had instituted 7 technical subcommittees to work under the Election Security Task Force. He assured of peaceful elections and called on the public to give them necessary information. He said the success of the elections in the region will depend largely on the operations of the task force.
One may ask the functions and the importance of this regional security task force. 1. The regional security task force is to ensure the overall security of the elections. They are to secure the safe transport and storage of ballot materials at the police and the polling stations. They ensure peace at the polling stations on election day. See to the smooth settlement of complaints. Ensure the arrest and prosecution of electoral offenders. Identify trouble-prone areas in all constituencies in the respective regions for effective policing. Identify inaccessible areas, unmotorable and river areas for advanced planning to ensure secure motorized boats, canoes, bicycles, motorbikes, and in some cases helicopters to lift election officials and materials to these areas.
The commanding officer of Central Command, Brigadier General J.A. Boampong, also called for public support.
Let me congratulate everybody who has been
put in this task force or nominated as a member of the task force, and also urge them to ensure that as much as possible, try to maintain the peace within our region, or for that matter, the whole country at large. I am happy that they are all professionals in their own, or their various fields of endeavor, and I believe that they are going to put their professionalism at stake in the performance of their work, so that we will see a very peaceful election come November this year.
We're taking a break. When we come back, we bring you entertainment.
Entertainment news is...
Right, Miss G is here, and you know it's time for entertainment.
Hello, 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 hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. You're my favorite tie.
All right, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's the color?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
Yes, something like bluish green. Yeah, there's some blue in there. There's some green. It's a hue of blue-green.
Oh, okay, okay.
What color is it?
I was just, in fact, I wanted to find out from you.
No, they say we guys are colorblind.
Oh, okay.
So you're a woman, so you should be able to tell me the color. What's the color?
What's this color? Before I go, I'll let you know. Yeah, because you said it was a bluish green. Or
forget it.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So let's go into.
You failed the woman race.
No,
you did.
I am a tom girl.
No.
Tomboy.
You failed all women.
Oh no! They know I can't feel them. I'll tell him. I know the color. This is not what they call mint green. This is mint green. This is not mint green. It's mint green. It's mint green. It is. Anyway, okay. So I'm actually we were talking about the fact that he had an accident. His manager passed on, and they had a 2-week celebration for the manager, and he also bought a tundra. Ghanaians were talking about it. Now, they came to us today. He came to multimedia, and we had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to speak to him about a lot of things. One of the things I spoke to him about was life after the accident. How has he been able to move on? He should now tell us the relationship between he and his manager, and some other things that you need to know about his life after the accident.
If you get accident, you can't just you don't have any pains or whatever. But I'm doing well, but I have some little pains. But that one I know it's normal.
We had some account that you had already performed one song on stage and you had come for a break. So it wasn't true.
No. It was that time. It was the time I was preparing to go to stage. So even I didn't sing that day. I was about to go to stage when that incident happened.
For people who do not understand the kind of relationship that you have with Isaac Yeboah, you want to tell us what kind of relationship and who he really was to you, because we've heard that he was more than a manager.
In fact, I think you want my tears to come out. It's very, very difficult to get somebody like Isaac Yeboah to work with. Isaac was somebody whom even sometimes when we go to trek, we may come home and I don't know the money I have. He would rather ask me, so do you know how much you have with me? I say, but you are the manager, you have to tell me the money I have. So in fact, me and manager, we were just more than, if I can take it that way, like more than a woman and her husband. One morning, when I was at the hospital about 5 days time, I decided to, just walk around. It was around 5 o'clock. Then I saw a car coming, and when immediately I saw the light, I began to run.
How much effect has it had on your life?
So many, because even 3 days ago, somebody called me that he wants me to come and pray a program for him. I couldn't even talk to him because how am I going to? Because it was my manager who was charging everything. Brantier, you are going to pray here tonight. You are going to pray here this day. So when the person called me, in fact, I couldn't talk to him because now I'm thinking about how can even I charge somebody for a program, because I have lost part of my body. You see, so I don't think that I'll get somebody like Isaac Yeboah. If I continue to talk about Isaac, my tears, I can't stop my tears flowing.
We know that you used to be called serious on stage. All of a sudden, what you're now talking frequently about is Yesunti. Are we going to hear you sing about this experience that you had in this accident, or is there a gospel song coming out?
I was about to register the car serious too, but I know by all means God will give me some words to compose and sing about Yesunti. So I know manager's death has affected me too much, but Yesunti, I know I will come out with something different.
Yeah, I feel for him. I mean, he's been through something.
Especially when he talked about the fact that when he was even still at the hospital, he decided to go on a walk and he saw flashlights of a car and it scared him. But so I asked him if he's grown beyond that phobia. He said yes, he actually drove here with his wife, so he's managing it, gradually. He's getting over the phobia of driving.
And now he has to look for a new manager.
Exactly. And that's another difficult one he's been working with.
Because you're not sure, you have somebody you trusted for so long.
For 3 to 4 years they were together, and he's been handling all his business for that long. And also he addressed the issue that people said, okay, the family of the bereaved manager are not too happy with him because of the way he's carrying himself after the incident. He says the family are frequently with him, he has interactions with them, so there's no issue between he and the family of the late Isaac Yeboah. He will be laid to rest on the 29th at the Abrantes Airport. So hopefully we'll bring you more details on that as well. So let's go to something that happened over the weekend. It was something very, very unfortunate. That's how come we are even talking about on Tuesday. The visuals are viral now. Stonebwoy went to perform at a concert called Live Experience. Midway through his performance, someone from the crowd walked upstage, and here's what happens.
So essentially he threw the microphone into the crowd and just walked off stage.
And I hear that he wasn't same after that experience. Stonebwoy, for a lot of people who know Stonebwoy, of course, if he was somebody who had this sort of character or who is known for things like this, I would have thought, it's one of those things. But actually, for the person to have mimicked his disability, it went straight into him, it got to him, and so he just walked off stage. And up to today, the organizers of the show had not even rendered an apology. Till this evening, I spoke to the manager earlier, and I said, this thing is all over. People are talking about, how come we haven't heard anything from the organizers of the show? He said he was surprised that nothing had come out from him. I sent a direct message to Stonebwoy on Twitter, and he said that, well, he's moved on, he's okay now, but initially it was traumatic for him to be performing and somebody just walk off on the stage and do that to him. He felt that it was...
Yeah, but I also think that it was also unfortunate for Stonebwoy to also react the way he did.
Well, people have ways of reacting. Of course, for somebody who, you don't know how he feels about...
I mean, I can imagine how he feels, and whatever happened, it's terrible. It's terrible, but again, that's a showman and there's showbiz personality.
We've said individual and blah, blah, blah. But Shatta Wale, who is also in the news, and this time around, it's for something great. His song, Hold It, has made it on #1 at the BBC Extra. Here's a report about that.
The Continental Chat Show hosted by DJ Edu also had Nigerian's Wizkid occupying the #2 position with his single Final Baba, while #3 went to the South African artist Ashley Rafaela with his song African Woman. Zimbabwe dancehall star Winky D with his song Disappear also landed at the #4 position. Tanzanian artist AY Zigo Remix, which he featured Diamond Platinum, also made the list at #5. DJ Edo is a Kenyan-born, London-based DJ who presents One Extra's Destination Africa show, bringing the sound of the African underground to the speakers of the UK and the world.
So Shatta has something great happening. But another thing that I chanced on this evening was, and reports is a rumor though, even though it's online, that he will be banned for a while from the Ghana Music Awards. Now, I spoke to his manager to find out if they had any, they've received any communication from the organizers of the Ghana Music Awards. He says no, he's hearing it for the first time from me, but it's online that he might be banned, and this is saying that it's from sources close to Charterhouse, you know. So we are waiting to see what happens in the following days, if he'll be banned from the Music Awards for some years, they say. And you know, it's because last year, during the award, he didn't show up, but he and Sarkodie decided to hold a concert on their own. And so maybe
on that same day, actually.
On the same day. So,
same night,
so maybe they're punishing him for all that, you know, back and forth with the organizers. And before I go, Wizkid is in the news. And guess why it's in the news? I think there's another baby from Wizkid. From another baby mama.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, this time around is some US-based lady who has a baby for Wizkid. You know, he already has a son with a Nigerian. She's called Shola. This time around, he has one outside Nigeria with a US-based lady. And information has reached Nigeria already about, you know, Wizkid's son, because she tweeted about it. She tweeted about it, and so everybody's talking about it. And his girlfriend, for the one we've known for years, Tanya Omotayo, left him. She can't do with it anymore because you have one baby already out there. That's okay. Now you go behind me, go have a second one. Okay, I don't think we can do this again. So that's the biggest one for Nigerians, you know. But Wizkid and his camp are yet to respond or react to the allegation. But photos are everywhere. The lady has tweeted about it, put out the name that the guy is actually, the little boy is actually called Ibrahim Balogun. So it makes everybody believe that, okay, that's Wizkid's son.
I mean, does that suggest that Wizkid hasn't actually named the son?
Yes, he has. It's called Ibrahim Balogun. And people are saying that he's taking after Two-Face, who is his mentor. Maybe you have 7 or 5, I don't know. So that's it for entertainment, brought to you by Airtel, the smartphone network. Easy.
Yeah, thank you very much for all the gossip. She's got gossip.
We're taking and I know colors as well. That's means good.
Oh yeah, the colors. Okay, that's it for entertainment. We have sports coming up next.
Entertainment news.
All right, so Gary is here with the sports. Good evening to you, Gary.
Hello, Israel.
Yeah, and Hearts of Oak is still trending.
Yeah, they are trending. I mean,
after the exit of the general manager.
Yes.
Do we know why now?
Well, I mean, we sort of knew why, because it was coming for the last couple of months. It was power play. For a general manager, you expected him to have been given certain prime assignments, but people were given those assignments while he was given lesser roles, so it was quite clear that his time was up. It was just a question of when.
Wow.
Yeah. And also, Emmanuel Adebayo has signed for Crystal Palace. You can open the sports page for me while I come to that story. Hello, and thank you for joining us on the Sports on Prime. I'm Gary L. Smith. Hearts of Oak still trending. And the public relations officer of the club has blamed supporters for the club's misfortunes. Now, Gerald Ankra, the general manager of the club, left unceremoniously yesterday. And also, Kenichi Achuachi has come under pressure from fans for the way the team has been playing. Things are not going well, and even though they were able to sign up to about 9 players, Opariado feels that the supporters aren't helping matters.
I think that the fans are rather disturbing the club.
How?
The fans are not united. Once you are not united, there's no way the club will know some peace. Without peace, the club is not going to move forward. It will take the effort of everybody to get together for Hearts of Oak to realize its aim. So if the few are constantly pushing for the team to go the right direction, but you have some also pushing it to go to the negative direction, that is why we still find ourselves in the position that we are now. But I can tell you that with all the measures that the board management is putting in place, Hearts of Oak will overlook everybody that is trying to push some negativity and will move forward.
Was Opariado speaking there. Meanwhile, the coach himself is still speaking to us. Kenichi Achuachi says he's not worried about the fan agitations because his focus is on delivering on his mandate.
What I said in the beginning was our fans are waiting for us to win the league and the FA Cup, and we will do our best to achieve that goal.
The points about people saying that you should be fired, is it really affecting your job?
Not at all. That's a part of my job. I have nothing to say to them because they have their own opinion, and our job is to play the game, which we do partially well, but we have a lot to improve still.
Was Kenichi Achuhachi speaking there. Meanwhile, Inter-Allies boss Herbert Addo also spoke. He said he's uncertain of when the league is going to start. That despite the fact that the Ghana Football Association have told us officially that 20th of February is the day.
It's going to really start on the 20th. We should be ready, 100% fit for the first day. But, what I'm saying a big but. Yes, there are a lot of little issues which I hope will come out 100%. We are playing, then I'll know that 100% we are playing. But anything can happen on the way. Sometimes I can tell you that we have too much time. Because if you knew the time, we get ourselves 6 weeks to prepare. And then after 6 weeks, we know the condition we are in. We've prepared for more than 6 weeks. We've gone on break, we've come back, we've gone on break and come back. So it's very interesting because the boys, we've played quite a few matches. We play, we train, we play, we correct, we play. And I hope by the time the season starts, because I'm sure we're going to play 2 or 3 matches a week, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. So the squad is not bad, and I hope they'll be fit enough to, sustain that amount of pressure.
Get more on the build-up to the start of the Ghana Premier League on our website by joyonline.com/sport. The Rio 2016 Olympics will be upon us in just about 5 months. For Ghana, potential athletes have been offered a chance to qualify as the race heats up. Richard Akpokwabi is the Secretary General of the Ghana Olympic Association.
In the past, it was only athletics and boxing that mainly qualified for the Olympics. Right now, what we are trying to do, we are trying to encourage the other federations who have 1 or 2 other athletes to be able to, so that weightlifting, say they have about 2 people who can qualify. So we say let's concentrate on those 2 people and see how we can get them to qualify. Boxing say they have about 7 people. Let's see how we can help them to qualify. Taekwondo say they have 2 people. Judo have 3. So that's the kind of thing we are trying to do because of the lack of funds. Yes, it is difficult, but we can't give up because it is difficult. We are trying to work with the ministry and also with corporate Ghana, and we are raising some funds on our own to see how we can support the various federations to qualify. The Olympics is not an easy tournament. It is the best of the best. So I always say that it's good for us to have expectations, but we should also be cautious in our expectations.
As you heard him say, the Olympics is for the best of the best. And the best of the best in tennis are currently at the Australian Open. In the women's event, Serena Williams crushed Maria Sharapova again. 18 straight times the American has beaten her compatriot. And I'm not sure what Sharapova will be thinking, but let's get highlights of that win again. Australian Open blues happening there. So in the semi-final, we have Roger Federer playing Novak Djokovic. I'm pretty sure you want to see that. Anyway, in the Barclays Premier League and in Europe, there are some interesting transfers. The man who is essentially a Ghanaian has moved. Emmanuel Shei Adebayo is the top story on my joyonline.com sports page. He has moved to Crystal Palace. Now let's read the story. Crystal Palace have completed the signing of former Spurs and Arsenal striker and Emmanuel Shei Adebayo today. And so that is the big one there. It's going to be a short deal. It's not going to last long. And Crystal Palace said they are really happy to be having the Togolese international. Let's go to the other top stories of the day. If you go to myjoyonline.com, every day we put this up, so you can check it out. Please come down. Let's see the headline first. So Tuesday's top 20 stories. There are reports suggesting that this man, Louis van Gaal, will be leaving Manchester United in the summer for Jose Mourinho to come in. We don't know about that, but let's go to the top. He was in Holland for his daughter's birthday at the weekend, and he's back to take the team. Also, Buffon to retire in 2018, and that's the Italian football legend, the goalkeeper, will be leaving the sport. A great servant of Italy and Juventus. Zenit have also signed Yuri Zhirkov. You remember him from back in the day at Chelsea and also in the Euros. Neymar will end up renewing his deal at Barca, and that's the latest from the man himself. And Barca make final Nolito offer. Nolito has been sensational for his club in La Liga, and we are hearing that he will be having another Barca deal to Paris. So these and more stories you will see on myjoyonline.com regarding the transfer window, including the fact that Real Madrid will not be making any signings as we have just about 5 or 6 days to close the transfer window. Speaking of closing, and that's how we close the sport for now. I'm Gary L. Smith. Head over to our Facebook and Twitter streams for more.